Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the WPS podcast. That is Why People Suck. I'm Celia, and I'm joined by my co host, best friend, and sister, Alejandra.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be back for another episode where we call out all the ways people are super annoying and talk about what we can actually do about it. We say it so you don't have to. Today, we're talking about people who don't apologize. This is a big one for me. I feel very offended by this generational trend, especially like our parents' generation, how they never apologized. And it's such a common old school mentality. And I find it especially annoying that parents don't
Yeah.
apologize to their kids. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I do find that if you ever bring something up, they're like, oh my God, okay, I guess I was a terrible parent. And then they try to victimize themselves, which is a
Yeah.
different topic too, like people who victimize themselves.
Yes.
I just find that pretty hilarious because it's just not taking accountability for things and is really not that difficult. I think it's just an ego thing. Like your ego is so small that you can't feel like you're losing control. I really have no problem apologizing when I know that I'm wrong. You know, sometimes I do need to be told this is wrong, but
Mhm.
I will listen. And I feel like
Yeah.
so many people get so defensive and they can't even listen, and it's impossible for them to apologize. Yeah, this is
Mhm.
a really big one for sure.
Yeah. I think also the thing with apologizing is that you might not be totally wrong is the thing sometimes, but you can say like, "Okay, I apologize for my part," or "I apologize that you're taking it that way. This is what I meant by that. And I guess it didn't come off that way, or I did this because of these reasons." That maybe the person didn't see, so but it's like, "I'm apologizing because you took it that way, and I'm sorry, that's not what I meant." And that's okay, because like, that opens up the whole conversation, and then it doesn't become a whole thing, like, you can just be like, "Okay, we're not seeing eye to eye, and now we are, and, I'm sorry, next time I'll try to do better about, like, communicating." But, yeah, the whole, like, going back to the parents of not apologizing to the kids, I think, like, one of the things with that is that, like, that generation kinda thought that, like, apologizing to a child diminished their authority or made them look weak, but I swear, like, some parents would rather combust than say sorry to their child. Like, even now as an adult, like, when I do something or, like, when they do something, I'm like, "Okay, I don't like that, that's really annoying." Like, they still don't apologize, and it's so irritating. But I do like that this, like, modern like, more our generation has kind of been more open to apologizing because, like, I for sure like, even when I'm totally in the right, to lose my patience with my children, for example, who do not listen to me, and I have to end up yelling at them for them to finally do something, I will apologize, and I'll be like, "I'm sorry that I lost my temper. That wasn't right. I shouldn't have lost my temper, even though you brought me to this point, and it is totally your
Mhm.
fault." But I feel like showing your kids that apologizing and not having an ego about it is a big thing. Like, if they don't see it from you, they're never gonna learn it. So I
Yeah.
also feel like maybe we, as a generation, have problems like, it's harder for us to apologize because we never saw that growing up. Like, that was not a thing that adults did. So hopefully the next generation after us will have an easier time apologizing because they grew up around adults who were like, "You know what? Put my tail between my legs and just I was wrong, and I'm
Yeah.
apologizing."
Yeah, you need to take accountability
Mhm.
for things that you do. But even that's an interesting thing earlier that you brought up about apologizing when you say oh, I didn't mean it that way. Or I'm sorry you feel that way. Actually, I feel like that's not an apology. If you say, I'm sorry you feel that way,
Oh,
I
yeah,
get
no,
really
definitely.
insulted.
Yeah, no, no,
Cause
no,
it's
you're right. Yeah.
yeah, because it's intent versus impact. It's okay, you shouldn't be apologizing for how I feel, but you should be apologizing for what you did or said
Yeah.
that made me feel that way, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not just about like what you intended to do, but it's like the impact that you had on the person.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
people should be open enough to hear that point of view from someone else. Like, I just feel like sometimes people have such a hard time understanding the other person's point of view, and like you resist it for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
Yeah.
no, this is the way I see it. And that's the end of that. Like, we're so stubborn sometimes, and it's very infuriating when people try to like actively misunderstand your point of view. Or
Mhm.
I feel like that's kind of narcissistic behavior when they'll do something to you and then just like blame you for how you react,
Mhm.
rather
Yeah, no,
than
you're
like
right. Yeah.
focusing on their part of what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, it's like not taking responsibility for the fact that you did make them feel that way, even though you didn't mean to do that. Yeah, you're right. Actually
Yeah.
saying, "I'm sorry you feel that way," is kind of a backhanded apology. You're right. Don't use that.
Yeah.
Take that back. Don't say that.
No, and I feel like, and if someone does say that to you, I think one good thing to say is like, you like bring that up, like the intent versus impact. Like,
Mhm.
it's, you don't need to apologize for how I feel. What you need to apologize for is what you did or said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that kind of helps you keep calm, because I think all of us would be like so mad when we hear that, and we just like automatically like start yelling at them. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
keep my cool and just say, you don't need to apologize for how I feel. You need to apologize for like what you did. So yeah. Or like people who blame it on external factors. That's another thing that makes me mad, when they're like, I'm so sorry for what I did. I was just so stressed out. And it's like, again, that's fine. You don't need to apologize for being stressed. You need to apologize for what you actually did that hurt my
Yeah.
feelings or impacted me negatively.
Yeah.
I'm thinking also those who apologize like cowards. I just, when I was thinking about this episode, I remember at one of the places I worked at, our boss lost his temper on one of the teams. Like, it's an open floor plan, so I could hear everything. And like, he said some really nasty things. And then he apologized on Teams to the one person that he really like yelled at. And then this guy, I really admire it, because he was like, no, you need to come over and apologize in person and like say it out loud, because it was kind of humiliating, right? Like the way he was yelling at him. So he
Oh, that's awesome.
demanded that apology, because yeah, he did apologize, but it was like a coward apology, just like on
Yeah.
Teams. So
Yeah. No, you're so right. That's so awesome that that person did that because most people would just be like, "Okay, it's fine," especially because it's their boss. But that's
mhm.
really good that they were like, "No, you need to come over here and do it in front of everybody." Just like you were so brave enough to humiliate me in front of everybody, you can also go ahead and apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You need to
Mhm.
demand it, I think. If you feel that someone owes you an apology, bring it up.
Mhm.
I know it's not the easiest thing to
Yeah.
do, but it's, and sometimes people won't accept that and they won't give you the apology.
Mhm.
But then in that case, you're like, well, you are, you're straining this relationship, and I don't see myself moving forward with you as a friend or partner, whatever it is. And
Yeah, that's
just holding them accountable.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had the person that just like over apologizes though and like you kind of forget like what the issue was because they're just like explaining it to death and you're just like, "Oh my god. Just stop talking, please."
Yeah. Yeah, again, like too much explaining too,
Mhm.
like you're trying to justify it. Like, we all have reasons, but you can still be accountable for hurting people's feelings. Like,
Yeah, for
there's
sure. There
always a reason, right? I think there's always a reason for the way that we react and we behave, but we
Mhm.
can try to understand when our actions were hurting someone else.
Yeah, for sure. I also like some people are just like you said, they're just such cowards, but like they won't apologize. Like you'll bring it up to them, they won't say that they're sorry. They'll just disappear
Hmm.
for a while and then they'll just come back and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like nothing ever happened. And you're just like,
Oh my God.
"I haven't forgotten
Yeah,
that you owe me an apology." That's what's up.
absolutely. No, that's one of the worst things is people who just like try to pretend that nothing happened, and it's like I don't think so. Like we need to talk about this. I've had so many occasions where that happens because I feel like sometimes I need to think about things for a while and then
Mhm.
I will forgive eventually, but like I need to think about things.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, so you think we're done talking about this? I'm not done. I still think there's stuff that needs to be cleared out. Like
Yeah.
I can't just pretend nothing happened.
Yeah.
But the same way, like if I offend someone, I'm like,
Mhm.
I need to bring it up. I'm sorry that I
Yeah.
did this or that because I just like everything to be like a clean slate. I don't want
Mhm.
anybody building resentment towards me, and I certainly don't want to build resentment towards someone else. So that's why I
Yeah.
feel like it's so important to address things rather than sweep them under the rug.
Yeah. For sure. I really hate it when people like you call them out on being like rude or something or like, "Hey, you hurt my feelings with that," or like, "Why did you say that?" And they're just like, "Well, I'm just blunt." And it's like, "Well, that has nothing to do with it. Like you're just being rude."
Mhm.
Being blunt doesn't mean that you need to be rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the sorry I made you feel that way. Like
Mhm.
that's not an apology, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You still made me feel this way and that's what you need to apologize for.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
Ugh, people do such annoying things. Like one time, like this really irritated me, but like when a friend spoiled a TV show for me, like they knew that I was watching the show and I was like behind on the show, and then they just spoiled it for me. And they're like, "Well, you should have watched it. It came out years ago." And I was like, "Okay, that's one thing to be like, the show came out years ago and I haven't seen it and I have shown no interest in the show or like yes, I should know what happens at the end of whatever big like Game of Thrones kind of thing. Like if you never watched Game of Thrones at this point, like
Mhm.
somebody spoils it for you, it's like, well, that came out like 10 years ago. I don't know, however long it came out ago, but it's been a long
Yeah.
time. But if I'm like, I'm watching the show and you know I'm watching the show, why would you spoil it for me? It's so rude.
Yeah.
Stupid things like that. And like they never apologized. And I was like, what? Ugh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
so rude. It's just like they don't see anything wrong with what they've done. That is so rude. And again, it's like you're telling them, hey, you did something that you should apologize for, and they refuse to do it. It's just
Yeah.
their huge
Yeah.
egos not being able to be accountable for stuff. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal to me, though. And if you care
Right.
about me, then this should matter to you, is my opinion.
Yeah, which brings
Mm-hmm.
me to my next question. Is apologizing weakness to some people? Like, do you think they're just like, well, they're going to see me as weak? Like what I was saying, like parents apologizing to their kids, the parents feel like they're being weak in front of the kids or something. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
you're
No,
actually
I
just,
definitely do think there is a part of that people feel like they're losing control or like they seem weak when they apologize, but
mhm,
I don't know where this narrative came from. Must be from olden days, but like the world has changed and that is not right. And I think it's like I don't know, anything to do with like psychology and therapy and things that before it was like,
mhm.
oh my gosh, only crazy people go to therapy. And it's like, no, we all need therapy,
Yeah,
actually. We
yes,
all do.
we're
And
all
like,
a
we
little,
need to change this perception
yeah,
of apologizing. Like, it's not weak, it's actually strong. It shows that you have emotional intelligence.
yes,
And
maturity.
actually, if you don't have that, you're the stupid one.
Yes, and you should
If
go to
you
therapy
can't
for
do
that.
that.
You should go to
Yeah.
therapy and figure out the reason why you feel like apologizing is not a good idea or why you can't do it. There's probably an underlying issue there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Put that ego
And
down.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, like, do these people realize that they need to apologize and they just refuse to, or do they think that nothing requires an apology? Is like the
Yeah.
both things that we were talking about, where some people are like, "Oh, hey," like nothing happened, and you're like, "How do you sleep at night? Wait, hold on,
Yeah.
something's wrong with you."
Yeah. Yeah, I also think that, like, some people are just so insecure and, like and just in their general life, and just adding having to apologize for having done something wrong just makes them be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just an even bigger failure than I thought," kinda thing.
Oh, yeah, that's another point I hadn't thought
Mhm.
about, like, in the
It's true.
fragile way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But see
but that is sad. It needs to be fixed,
yeah, like,
sorry,
you need
like,
to go to
that's not
therapy.
okay.
You need to go to
Mhm.
therapy. Therapy's
Yeah,
great. Do you
it is.
do you feel like I don't know, this might not be a thing, but do you think that, like, friends, family, partners, like, is there, like, a do you think someone apologizes more than the other? Like, your friends apologize more, family, partners, your husband? I feel
You
like that's
mean,
kind of a
like,
hard one.
my relationship with them
Mhm.
or, like, those,
Yeah.
groups of I
Like, who's more
think
likely to apologize?
who's more likely to
Yeah.
apologize? I think I am in my relationships just
Yeah.
because I not necessarily because I think I did more bad things
Yeah, you're just
or
you're
hurtful things. I just feel like I'm very aware
Mhm.
of myself and how I relate to other people and the impact that my words and actions have on them. And again, like
Mhm.
I think I mentioned this before. One of my friends and I were talking about how we think we're sensitive people, like we're more
Mhm.
aware of these sorts of things. So again, like you said, I don't necessarily come in and say like, "Oh, it was all my fault," but like I demand that you say you're sorry for your part, but I'll be big enough to be the first one to be like, "Hey, I also like overreacted on something and
Mhm.
I wasn't right about this and this, but I still feel like what you did also I deserve an apology for that." If that
Yeah.
makes sense. And
Yeah.
I think those are the sorts of people that I've been keeping in my life. Like, slowly you start to realize the people who don't share those same values and that are just going to drain you if you have to
Mhm.
be constantly asking for them to treat you right and like apologize for things.
Yeah.
So, those people really don't deserve a place in your life if this is important to you. I guess some people maybe I wonder they don't care. Like they all just do things to each other and they just move on.
Yeah. True. Some people really don't care. Some people are not fazed by other people wronging them, however you
Yeah.
would say that. It's true,
Or
yeah.
if they wrong people too, they're like, whatever, life is
Yeah.
life and people do crappy things and we
Mhm.
just have to live with it. And I'm like, no, but we don't,
No, we
right? We
don't.
can be better.
Yeah.
We can be better.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't wanna hang out with those types of people.
What about you of that question that you asked me? Who's like more likely you or like your family, friends, who's more likely to apologize?
I guess with family, probably me, because not
Mm.
necessarily not with you, but, like, I feel like with the generational thing, it's like, I'm probably gonna be the one that apologizes, but I do get annoyed when they
Mhm.
don't apologize to me. With friends, I think I've surrounded myself with people that are, like, very aware at this point in my life, like, I don't really have people in my life that are a problem because I don't want people like that in my life, so I feel like
Yeah.
we're very mature about stuff like that, where it's like, if I'm in the wrong, I'll apologize. If they're in the wrong, they apologize, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and then same thing, like, with my husband, like, I can tell him things and be like, "That annoyed me," and then he'll apologize, and same thing, like, we have a very open communication style where we just call each other out, I guess, and then
Yeah.
but we're also open to receiving the criticism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so important, and I
yeah,
feel the same way about,
mhm,
friends and my husband too.
yeah,
I think I feel the same with, like, older generations, like, in family,
yeah,
or I guess even older friends. because you do get have older friends that you make through, I don't know, work and stuff
Yeah.
or hobbies. But nah, it's so true. I do think there might be some this generational divide is definitely real.
Yeah. So I have one final question. What do you think is worse? Someone who never apologizes or someone who apologizes constantly but never changes? That's a hard one.
Oh, yeah, that is a really hard one because I have known people who are both, or like
Yeah.
one person that's one thing and the other. Gosh, I guess maybe they're both really bad. Do I have to
Mhm.
pick one?
No, you don't. Just wanted to put the
I
question out
think,
there. I'd like to know what people
yeah,
think because I
I
think they're
would
both
too.
bad.
They're both bad because it's really frustrating, obviously, if someone never apologizes. But then I would want to know, like, if you come in and tell them, hey, like, I deserve an apology for this, they'll be like, oh, yes, you're right. Or is like, never, never, even when you tell them something.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, I think that might be worse. I know
Mhm.
that it's kind of difficult to change your ways, and maybe they're trying, but they don't change the person who's like always saying they're sorry, but
Mhm.
at least they have some self-awareness to say they're sorry. But it's a tough one. I think they're equally as bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're both annoying.
Yeah. I guess, do you have any advice to share?
I mean, I think being a person who apologizes is just the mature thing to do. Like if you do something and you didn't realize that you did it, apologize, you know? And
Mhm.
also if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, this happened and it upset me," or "You did this and that I don't think that that was right that you did that." Apologize. I think just
Yeah.
trying to be the person who apologizes and also trying to go to people and calling them out so that you don't have to live with this. I think that's just the healthier way to live your life. It's so much better. It's so much easier. You don't want to live with that resentment because it'll eat you up.
Yeah. No, it definitely will, and I think that's the harder part. I think, I don't know, maybe some people find it harder to apologize than to demand an apology,
Mhm.
but asking for an apology, I find it very difficult. So I
Mhm.
guess
Same.
some advice that I've seen, like from therapists and psychologists, is first, like, you want to plan that conversation. You don't go in
Yeah.
like and kind of wing it, because I think then people might get defensive
Mhm.
and or they might turn the script on you. So
Yes.
you need to like be prepared
Yeah.
and focus on your feelings. What I've said before that I did learn from a therapist is like, you come in and you talk about like, I felt this way when this happened, or you said that, rather than accusing people, and then
Mhm.
just being very
Smart.
specific with what you're trying to tell, like the moment that hurt you, like, or the thing that they did, just being very specific, and then ask them what they think about it. Because again, that's an opportunity to see, did they even realize it, or is this an issue that they can't apologize?
Mhm.
And then just like the way that you approach it when you come in to like start the conversation,
Mhm.
just ask like the question, you're like, can we talk about XYZ? Because I've been feeling like really
Mhm.
unsettled since that happened or something. So it's
Mhm.
like how you feel again. It's not like, hey, you did this and you suck. So you need to say you're
Yeah.
sorry. No, it's like how
Yeah.
you come in and handle that. And again, I think if people are saying things like, sorry you feel that way, or that wasn't my intention, it's what we talked about before, where you're like, okay, I appreciate and acknowledge that, but what you should be sorry for is not how I reacted or how I feel, but what you did. Like,
Mhm.
that's what I'm expecting
Mhm.
here, and make
Yeah.
that very clear.
Yep.
I think that's the mature way to do it. But
Mhm.
also, if they suck and they're terrible and they don't listen, be petty. Never apologize to them ever. Cut them off too.
Yeah. Be
I
petty.
could go both ways.
Yeah. It could go one way or the other. I like that. Be petty.
Yeah.
I like that road.
Uh, can be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Just like be passive aggressive.
Yeah. Oh, that's really funny.
But anyways, yeah, we want to know what your thoughts are on everything that we talked about when it comes to apologizing and how you deal with that and how you've dealt with people in your life that don't apologize and what you've learned. Please let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your stories. We always do.
Yeah. Great. So thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the WPS podcast. We said it so you didn't have to. Remember to follow us on social media, like and comment on our posts, and DM us with your stories. We'll see you next time.
Bye. See you next time.